Welcome back to my cozy corner of the internet. I'm Mayastar, and this is the Mayastar Podcast. I teach energy healing courses online through Mayastar Academy, share spiritual guidance and mystical musings on the Maya Muses blog, and provide healing, ritual, and spellcasting services as a star-seeded shaman and professional witch. And today is episode 38 in the Mayastar Unscripted series. And today we're going to be following on from last week's discussion. We had some more ideas that I wanted to discuss with you, and I think you'll find these inspiring and uplifting. And if you haven't already listened to last week's episode, you might want to listen to that first. But giving you an overview of last week, I talked about the restoration of the Good Fortune Prosperity Reiki course, which is an energy healing system that you can use to help you resolve blocks within your energy field and attachments that bring in low frequencies or negativity in order to draw better opportunities and more happiness, more prosperity and healing into your life. So the general goal of working with the Good Fortune Prosperity Reiki course would be to bring positive change into your life and to optimize areas where things are already doing well. And it's a good energy to work with to accompany your manifesting practice. Whatever you're intending to manifest, whether it's financial prosperity, success, new relationships or new opportunities, or to progress your healing journey and bring yourself more into alignment with the universe and with the blessings that the universe intends for you. So it's a good all-rounder. And as I mentioned last week, I think this makes a very powerful practice for your morning spiritual meditation, or the time that you're performing yoga early in the morning or completing your daily affirmations, that kind of thing. But this week, I'll bring in some more energy work ideas and practices that you might want to incorporate into your own routine with the intention of supercharging your spiritual practice when it comes to prosperity and manifesting. As usual, I come armed with notes, but without a script. So we'll be meandering around this topic and pursuing the scenic route to enlightenment. If this sounds interesting to you, stick around and while away the next half an hour or so with me as we explore these things together. Find out about the different ways you can work with me and discover my energy healing and spiritual development courses by visiting my website at mayastar.net, where you can also join the Mayastar mailing list to stay up to date with the latest special offers and news about the latest additions to the Mayastar syllabus, because I'm planning quite a few of them this year as I continue the project of restoring courses that were previously part of the syllabus but which dropped off some years back when I was rebuilding the website. So I've been going through these and gradually restoring those that I feel would be most powerful and inspirational for Mayastar students. So to start with today, I thought I'd illustrate a couple of ways I've worked with energy healing practices for the purpose of manifesting as part of my regular manifesting practice. And often when I'm working in this context, I will leave the practice quite open-ended. Even if I'm working on specific goals, I will tend to keep those to about 3 goals that I'm focusing on at one time. I think any more than that and you will become quite overwhelmed. So I think focusing on 2 or 3 things that you're intending to achieve would be an optimal starting point. But also keeping your practice open creates the state of consciousness where you're leaving space for the universe to inject its magic into the proceedings. Perhaps the universe has better ideas, bigger ideas, and more fulfilling ideas for you. So if you go into your manifesting practice with the idea that you're opening up to the opportunities and blessings that the universe intends for you, rather than making demands of the universe about what you intend for yourself, I think that can help you to develop a better relationship with the universe and stay within a more spiritual consciousness. There is a tendency, if you're thinking in demanding ways and being very self-focused, there would be a tendency to bring your ego into the proceedings. And when that comes in, it's much harder to effectively progress your manifesting path because your consciousness is drawn back down to mundane levels, to focusing on the practical and the essentially 3D reality. When during your spiritual practice you want to be connecting with higher frequencies and then bringing those in so that you can ground them. So when I wrote these notes for this episode, I was primarily working with the Good Fortune Prosperity Reiki system, but these principles apply to any energy healing system that focuses on manifesting and helping you to align with your highest potential. So other options that you might be drawn to or might want to combine with Good Fortune Prosperity Reiki as part of your regular practice would be the Full Abundance Attunement, the Archangelic Flames Initiations Attunements, the Diamond of Prosperity, which I covered in a previous episode, Attraction Reiki, or the Abundance Affinity Attunement. And when it comes to my spiritual practice, because of the nature of the work I do, my days are quite structured with a fixed times for my morning meditation and that kind of thing. So my routine does lend itself to this kind of practice, which makes it easy for me to be consistent. So my first recommendation would be to look at the points in your day where you could incorporate energy healing with an existing part of your routine. And it doesn't have to be a long part of your routine. It could be literally while you're standing in the kitchen boiling the kettle for your morning coffee. You use that few minutes to focus on your affirmations and connect with a particular energy healing system to adjust your energy field and bring you into alignment with those frequencies and intentions. So quite a simple practice, but one that you wouldn't forget to do because you always boil the kettle every morning. And the same thing might be adapted to your routine in the bathroom, perhaps while you're having a shower or cleaning your teeth. Although while cleaning your teeth, it would be challenging to do your morning affirmations. But, there's plenty of things that we do every day. And if you can fit your spiritual practice into those things, it makes it easier to be consistent. And it's much better to spend 3 minutes every single day doing your affirmations and energy work than to once a week spend half an hour doing it. And that kind of thing. Consistency, doing it regularly, bringing yourself to that state of consciousness regularly is what makes the biggest difference. So because I spend a lot of time each day in the temple to perform rituals and send attunements to people as part of my routine, it's much easier for me perhaps to bring those new elements in or to make them part of my existing practice. But I do like to vary the parts of my routine where I'm focusing on my own work, my own manifesting projects, creative projects, and healing projects. I like to change the routine regularly to sort of refresh it for myself. So I will work with different energy healing techniques. Usually I'll focus on one for a week or two and then move to another. Even if I'm focusing on the same kind of goals, I will usually use more than one system in that process. And if you've worked with a number of energy healing techniques, I do recommend experimenting with combining different energy healing practices together. So, for example, this week, a couple of times I've combined the Good Fortune Prosperity Reiki course with the Diamond of Prosperity technique as part of my morning ritual and working with the affirmations that I put out each day on social media. So if you follow my social media, those affirmations that I put out each day are focused on aligning you with a positive mindset. So for your manifesting practice or just getting you off to a good start in the day, those would be a good option if you don't already have affirmations that you are working with. Working with the affirmations that I put out could be a simple way of doing that. And you'll find them on the community posts tab on YouTube, as well as on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, all of my social media. So you can check those out by looking in the description of this episode to find the links to my social media. So you can follow me wherever you're most active and start working with those affirmations if you feel inspired to do that. So for me, working with Good Fortune Prosperity, Reiki and the Diamond of Prosperity is a part of my practice that follows on from my regular Kundalini Reiki meditation. So after I complete the Kundalini fire meditation, I spend about 10 minutes. I don't time it, so I couldn't tell you exactly how long this takes, but I would say about 10 minutes working with my affirmations and channeling those positive and prosperous energies. And then I tend to end those sessions with a light language mantra or working with one of the activation symbols from the Wheel of Light starseed activations, because those are energies I work with a lot when I'm doing anything creative, and I've got quite a few creative projects intended for this year. So I'm connecting with those energies more mostly so far I've worked with the Lemurian goddess Amara, the Shakti rising activation, and the dolphin healing energy activation. And I find that those are a good way to connect me with my creative side. And it also breaks up the practice so that I've moved from the Kundalini Reiki, which you could think of as almost like a preparation for the other work, into the focused attention that I put into the manifesting part of the practice, and then finish off with something more intuitive and perhaps a bit more light-hearted, less focused and more open. Now, always, if you're doing, because that's quite a lot, well, my morning sessions are 30 minutes, but if you're a beginner, then 30 minutes might be a long time to spend each day on your spiritual practice, especially in one sitting. Like most people would feel more comfortable with a 15 minutes sort of level for their morning meditation, and that's perfectly all right. I mean, mine is a bit more elaborate, as I say, because my routine lends itself to that. But in general, what I would say is your practice will evolve, and if you work with multiple energy healing modalities, then over time you'll start to experience the way they can flow into each other and how different techniques can be combined in ways that will suit you. So, although there are specific techniques for different energy healing systems, once you've worked with them for a while, you're likely to develop your own ways of connecting with those energies and combining different techniques, finding your own healing style kind of thing. But that will develop over time as you become more accustomed to channeling energy and as you learn more variety of techniques and connect with different energy frequencies. As you become attuned to more frequencies and work with them regularly, you intuitively know what frequencies are needed for any particular situation. So, approaching it with the idea that you have to rigidly follow these particular steps one after another may not be helpful. It can be helpful in the beginning when you're just learning and your intuition isn't so developed. Following the steps can be helpful and help you to build your confidence in working with subtle energy. But over time, your intuition is going to guide you to the best steps for you and working in the ways that will suit you best and help you to connect with those energies in a more personal way. And what I would say that I've noticed with the change from good fortune, prosperity, Reiki to combining that with the Diamond of Prosperity system as part of my manifesting practice is that the energy is more grounding, much more focused during that 10 minutes, and then opening up with the Wheel of Light starseed activations energies towards the end of the session gives me a feeling a bit like when you're a child, or that you feel like the whole day is ahead of you. It's that kind of feeling, like there's opportunities coming up and you just feel optimistic and hopeful, I suppose. So that for me, that combination of energies has been really powerful. It gives me a sort of, it's like that feeling when you're a kid and you wake up and you think you've got to go to school and then you remember it's the summer holidays. It's that sort of, that level of positivity. So, yeah, I do feel that working with these kinds of energies early in the morning is a good way to get your mind focused and tuned in to your intentions for the day. And if you go out into the world with that sort of positive and open mindset, positive and good things are much more likely to happen. I mean, it does, it's a simple practice, but it could have a really profound effect on how your day pans out. And then if you imagine doing that every single day, the cumulative effect of those positive changes, well, it builds up, because you have one good day, and then the next day, it's not that you expect a good day, but it's easier to be more open to seeing the positive side of things, like a recalibration, a recalibration of your mood, that you can perform each morning before you set out into the world. And on Friday just gone at the time of recording, I worked with this same combination of energies before the Mahalakshmi Dance of Prosperity ritual, which is one of the tantric shamanic rituals that I perform for people. So that's available through mayamagical.net, which meant that I was working with this technique, or this combination of techniques, later in the day than usual, which was a bit out of my routine. And I found that was a really powerful way of starting that ritual session. Now, usually when I'm performing that ritual, I will connect with Lakshmi's Golden Good Fortune energy healing system. So I do work with energy healing techniques frequently as part of my preparations for ritual work, and some rituals I will combine energy healing systems into those rituals themselves, sort of like ethereal crystals healing system. I create crystal grids as part of the opening ceremony. So that's a system that I work with daily. But it's not in its healing capacity, it's in the capacity of creating a sacred space. So there are some systems that I will work with during rituals habitually, and some that I will work with in preparation for particular rituals, just to align me with the goal of the ritual. It's sort of like a period of adjustment when you come from your day-to-day life and you're moving into the ritual space. You sort of need to decompress as you move from one consciousness into another. And an energy healing practice can be a simple but powerful way of doing that. Now, I don't usually work with Kundalini Reiki that late in the day. It was just a shift to my routine for that particular day. And often I will find Kundalini Reiki a bit too revitalizing. It's a very uplifting, but it's almost like the morning coffee equivalent of energy healing. It really can wake you up and really sharpen your mind. So it's one that I don't tend to work with late in the day. And perhaps it would have had that effect if I hadn't been following it up with the other systems that I've combined into the routine. And perhaps it would have had that effect if I hadn't been following it up with the ritual itself, which, although it's quite energizing, it tapers down into a much more relaxed state towards the end. So with your own personal rituals, if you have any personal rituals, that's something else you can consider. What kind of energies would you like to tap into to prepare yourself for those rituals? And then perhaps use an energy healing practice during that preparation time. And now I want to move on. So those are ways that I've worked with this system recently, but I wanted to cover some practical tips on things that you can do with these energies, in particular good fortune, prosperity, Reiki, because that is the main focus of this episode. But like I say, this could equally apply to other energy healing modalities that are focused on manifesting, but ways that you might bring it into your daily practice once you've been attuned in order to maximize the benefit. So the simplest option would be to incorporate a daily self-treatment, setting aside 15 minutes a day to channel the energy. And during the channeling, place your hands over your heart or solar plexus and visualize yourself surrounded by golden light. And you can imagine this light clearing away blocks and filling you with confidence and joy. A very simple visualization that could have a profound effect on your mood and on your energy. Another way to do this is intentional focus. So this involves, before each energy healing session, making a statement of intent so that you're aligning your consciousness with one specific goal. And it could be something like, I align with opportunities that support my highest good, or I release all fear around financial success and independence. Well, whatever it is, whatever you want to focus on, and then bring that energy in and use the visualization. Okay. And another way you can enhance your manifesting practice is by incorporating gratitude into the session. Now, gratitude is a mindset that allows you to focus on the things that you would like to see more of in your life, rather than looking at the areas where you perceive lack or deficiency. So it helps you by focusing on gratitude, you're aligning with sort of more optimism, more hope, and raising your vibration effectively. So a simple way to incorporate gratitude into your practice might be to write down 3 things that you're grateful for that day at the end of each session. And I feel like doing this at the end of the session is a good way to ground yourself and bring your consciousness back to your body, because when you're focusing on what you want to achieve, you're putting the thought together in your mind, and then you're writing it down, which is a physical act. So sort of bringing it back to earth and grounding that energy while still keeping that positive mindset, keeping that positive and optimistic outlook that aligns you with new opportunities for growth. And my final tip for today for enhancing this practice is to keep a journal of your spiritual practices and write down, it doesn't have to be a lot, but write down your experience each day and the energies that you worked with, the techniques that you combined, anything you noticed. And that can be, even if you noticed I was really tired and distracted and I didn't feel like I was very focused and that kind of thing. It doesn't have to be hugely detailed, but it sort of keeps you accountable. And it also gives you something to look back on over time and see if there are any patterns that emerge, or if you notice that there are particular combinations of energy that seem to really inspire you and set you up for the day. If you don't write it down, you'll never make those connections. And when you are writing it down, don't feel that you have to write pages and pages and explore every minute detail. Even if you're just writing the date, a list of the energies you worked with and how long you worked with them for, and then a couple of sentences, sort of like, it went really well today. The sun was shining and I was feeling quite positive anyway, and I slept well the night before. Or, it doesn't have to be detailed. It can be quite brief. It can be sort of step by step what you did. But it does mean that if you start to notice patterns over time, you will begin to trust the process more and trust your intuition more. But it also gives you a space where you can write down what your intentions are, write down anything you noticed, any synchronicities that come up, any personal insights you have, and how you feel in general. Because I do believe that abundance is our natural state. Living in an abundant mindset is much more about finding happiness in your day-to-day life and creating a life that makes you feel rich and enriched rather than financially wealthy. We're looking at feeling satisfied with life rather than with stuff, if that makes sense. The universe is on your side and working with energy healing modalities that can help you to connect with that mindset could only do good in your life. Yeah, good fortune, prosperity, Reiki, the diamond of prosperity, attraction, Reiki, full abundance, abundance affinity. These energies would all be great ways to tap into that mindset and connect with those energies regularly. So if you would like to learn more about these, you can find all of those courses, everything that I've talked about and mentioned in this episode, on the Mayastar website at mayastar.net. And as always, do feel free to reach out with any questions or comments that you have below. And if you've got questions that would be suitable for future episodes, do leave those below and I'll address those in the future. So that brings us now to the Starseed Guidance segment, where I'm drawing from the Lemurian Star Child Oracle to see what guidance the universe has for us today. The card we have is Blessing, and it's captioned Beyond the Soul Path. And this card, this actually reminds me quite a lot of the Nine of Cups energy, the 9 and the 10 of Cups combined in the tarot. Very positive card. But yeah, 9 of Cups would be my blessing card in the tarot. So I guess that's where that association came from. And it features a woman looking out at the sun. I believe it's the sun, since it does look like daylight. And there's a rainbow in the sky. And she has her hands raised in the what we would call the goddess position, with the palms outward, drawing in the energy, usually of the divine feminine. And she's wearing a light blue dress. So let's have a look in the guidebook and see if anything in there resonates with you today. As usual, take whatever vibes with you and leave the rest behind. This is just for a bit of inspiration. Okay. 3. Blessing beyond the soul path. Perhaps it's all supposed to be read as one. The word blessing is in a slightly larger font on the card. Okay, and the guidebook says, honor all life. Exchange of joy without karma or sacrifice. Paradigm shift. Bless food. Nurture. Respect for land, animals and plants. And it says, the universe invites me to give a blessing to everyone I see today, vocally or perhaps in silence. I am bringing light, clarity, and abundance in their field, even without a word, and thus I am co-creating the new earth. Well, I have to say that ties in rather well with our discussion today. Very much about aligning with that positive energy, opening up to new opportunities by being open to the blessings that the universe intends for you. And as usual, I'm going to put a photograph of this card on the community posts tab on the Mayastar Podcast YouTube channel. So if you want to see what the card looks like, do visit the Mayastar Podcast YouTube channel page and go to the Posts tab, where you can also view the affirmations we were talking about earlier. And the guidebook actually gives some affirmations for this card. So it says, "When I let go of everything, all is given to me in divine flow. Remembering source love and light in every particle of creation raises its vibration so that it's part of Eden once again." Oh, I love these cards. They're so beautiful. So as I say, I feel that ties in really well with what we were talking about today, and that may give you something to focus your attention and intention on as you go about your day to day. And that brings us to the end of today's Unscripted episode. I hope you found it interesting, and I hope you're leaving this episode suffused with good vibes and great ideas. You can hear more from me today by exploring previous Unscripted episodes. And remember that these episodes are pre-recorded, but you can find my latest mystical musings and updates on the Maya Muses blog at blog.mayastar.net. I hope to see you back here again soon. And in the meantime, I wish you peace, prosperity, and progress in all you do. With blessings.